Sixth grade, this is 11.1 AB form video. You need to watch this entire video. First thing I want to show you how to do is how to zoom in. So this video is inside the form. To zoom in, you're going to need to click these three little dots right here in the top right hand corner. You click those, and then right here where it says zoom, you can zoom in. I hit the plus sign, and I would maybe suggest zooming in to about 200%. That way, that will make the video a little bit bigger on your screen. Okay, so it'll look something more like this. Okay, and then once you're done watching the video, I would zoom back out, hit those three buttons, and zoom back out to normal, which is 100%. Okay, so you can zoom in to watch the video. Next thing, you need to have lined paper, just like this, paper with lines on it. And at the top of that page, you need to label 11.1 AB form, and of course put your first and your last name in the top right hand corner. You also need to tear off the stickies on your page. So if you have something like this on the side of your paper, you would need to rip that off, okay? Because when you turn this in tomorrow, you can only turn in a page with a clean side, no stickies, right? These need to go in the trash can, not in the floor. So I have my paper labeled, my name on it. I'm going to number each problem. Okay, so right here, this is number 1. After I number the problem, I will copy the equation down. So in number 1, I see the equation is x plus 11 equals 15. I copy that down, and in parentheses, I write what that variable is equal to. They're telling me in the form that x is equal to 4. And so what we need to do, just like the directions say, is find out if this given value, if the given value 4 is a solution to the equation. I need to show all my work on this lined paper, and then in the form I will click either yes or no. So let's do number 1 together. I have the equation copied down. I'm going to substitute in or plug in this value for x, because I'm told that x is this. X is 4. So let's plug this in. Remember, when you plug in or substitute something in, you always put it in parentheses. So here's x. I'm going to put 4 because x is 4. 4 plus 11 equals 15. Okay, so this is what it should look like on your paper. I substituted x 4 in for x, and I put it in parentheses. Now let's evaluate the left side. I have 4 plus 11. Well, 4 plus 11, this right here is 15. And on the right side of the equal sign, I still have 15. Okay, so this equation says that 15 equals 15. Is that true? Does 15 equal 15? Yes, it does. Okay, so if the left side is equal to the right side, we're going to put a check mark, which means yes. Yes, this value for x, when x is 4, it satisfies the equation, or it is a solution to the equation. Okay, so what I'll do is circle this, 15 equals 15, I check mark, yes, that is a solution, and then in the form I will choose yes, it is. Okay, after I do number 1, I'm going to skip a line and put number 2, so label it, this is problem number 2. I'm going to copy down what I see for number 2. For number 2 it says 36 minus w equals 10, and I am told that w equals 20. So we need to find out, is 20 a solution to the equation? So what I'm going to do is substitute or plug in 20 for w. I'm going to plug that in right there. So I have 36 minus the 20 goes in parentheses because I'm plugging 20 in for w. And then of course I have equals 10. So evaluate. 36 minus 20, well, that's 16. Does 16 equal 10? Does 16 ever equal 10? Does that make any sense? No. And so if it doesn't make sense, we're going to draw a diagonal line through the equal sign. This means 16 does not equal 10. 16 is not equal to 10. So I will write no. 16 does not equal 10. No. 20 is not a solution to this equation. So in the form, I would click no for number 2. Skip a line, go to number 3. Number 3, copy down what number 3 says. 0.2v equals 12. And I'm told that the variable v equals 10. Is 10 a solution to this equation? Now remember here, if you have 0.2 times v, or 0.2v, that means multiplication. If you have a number written right next to a variable, that means multiplication. In algebra, you don't need the x for multiplication, you don't need a dot for multiplication. If you just write a number next to the variable, that is multiplication. We would call 0.2 or 2/10 the coefficient, because it's the number being multiplied by the variable, and of course v is the variable. Okay, so let's plug in. Let's substitute 10 in for b. So we have v, 0.2, 2/10 times 10. Of course, every time I plug in, I put what I'm plugging in parentheses. 0.2 times 10 equals 12. I have to see, is that true? Now, without using a calculator, I know 0.2 times 10, what would that be? 0.2 times 10. Well, that would be 2. Right? We just finished multiplying decimals, or I could say, I know that if I move the decimal one place to the right, that's multiplying by 10. Right? Remember from our percentage unit on percents, if we move the decimal 2 places to the right, that's multiplying by 100. So if you move the decimal 1 place to the right, that's multiplying by 10. So 2/10 times 10 is 2. Does 2 equal 12? Does 2 equal 12? No, it doesn't, right? And so we draw a diagonal line through the equal sign, which means 2 does not equal 12. So we would say no. 10 is not a solution to the equation. So we would circle this. 10 is not a solution to the equation, and so inside the form I would check no. I'll do the same thing for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? I'll keep going down this column until I run out of room, and you can divide the paper in half like I did here. You can divide it in half. So when you run out of room in this column, just come up to this column and continue going down the page until you run out of room, and then go to the back side and start here and do the same thing. Go down, divide this in half, go down this column, okay? That way we can try to conserve some paper. Now, one thing I want to point out here, this will be on, you'll see this on the form. Number 7, do you see this diagonal slash right there? We have 12 and then a diagonal s equals 4. Well, that diagonal is another way to write a fraction bar. Okay, so what I have here, this means 12 divided by s is equal to 4. Okay, so then you'll plug in 3 for s and see if the left side equals the right side. Okay, the next one I'll do with you is number 9. Now, in numbers 9 and 10, be sure to read the directions. This will say 8.1 part 2. 8.1 part 2. Okay, we're told that the variable in number 9, m equals 19, and we need to choose the equation that m is equal to 19m. Okay, so let's take the first equation. I'll call this letter A. Your first option there says 10 plus m equals 20. Okay, and so what I want you to do is basically solve these 4 equations for m and see which one that m equals 19m. Okay, so if I have the equation 10 plus m equals 20, I need to isolate this variable, or basically get m by itself. If m is on the left side of the equal sign, like I can sort of view this as there's the equal sign, and I have a left side of the equal sign and a right side of the equal sign. Right now, there's an m and a 10 on the left side of the equal sign. I need to move this 10 over here so that m is by itself. Now, to move 10, we're going to use inverse operations. Okay, right now we have m plus 10, or you could read it the other way, 10 plus m. And so basically, if we're adding 10 to m, we need to undo that addition. And what operation would undo addition? Well, that's subtraction, right? If I subtract 10 from both sides, which I must do because that's the golden rule for equations. The golden rule for equations is whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you must also do the same exact thing to the other side of the equal sign. That way your equation stays balanced. It stays equal. Okay, so if we subtract 10 from both sides, on this side, 10 minus 10, well, what is 10 minus 10? That's 0, right? So what we're going to do is we're not going to write a 0 there. Don't write a 0. If it's 0, then cross it out. It cancels. It's gone. 10 minus 10 is 0. It's gone. So what are you left with on the left side? Well, we just have m, which is what we want. We want the variable, in this case m, on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other. Now on the right side we have 20 minus 10. What's 20 minus 10? Well, that's 10. Okay, so our variable in option A is m equals 10. So that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for what equation is m equal to 19 in. Okay, so we're not going to choose letter A because in letter A m is equal to 10. Now let's move on to letter B. You should be showing me each of these on your lined paper. So in letter B we have m minus 4 equals 15. Okay, I have m on the left side. I need to move this minus 4, this negative 4, to the other side. Okay, so since I'm subtracting 4, to move minus 4 to the other side, I need to do the inverse of subtraction. What is the inverse of subtraction? What undoes subtraction? Well, that'd be addition, right? I would need to add 4 to both sides so that these 4's cancel. Negative 4 plus 4, that is 0. So I'm left with m on the left side, and on the right side of my equal sign I have 15 plus 4. 15 plus 4 is 19. Okay? Now we can always go back and check. We can plug 19 back in for m and see if it's true. Does 19 minus 4 equal 15? Yes, it does. Okay, so that means we solved correctly. Now remember, in number 9 we're looking for in which equation does m equal 19 in? Well, we have m equals 19, so that would be letter B. So letter B must be our correct answer, but let's try C and D. C, we have 7m equals 28. Now remember, how do I read this? What does 7m mean? 7m means 7 times m. Okay, so to get m by itself over here on the left side of the equal sign, I would need to do the inverse operation of multiplication. So what's the inverse of multiplication? What undoes multiplication? Division, right? I divide. This is how I'm showing division. It's sort of like a fraction. Remember that horizontal fraction bar means divided by. So on this side I have 7 divided by 7, which is 1, and 1 times m is just m. That's what I'm looking for. I want to know what m is equal to. M is equal to 28 divided by 7, which is 4. Right? Which makes sense because if I plug this in back to the equation, 7m, 7 times n is 28. Well, 7 times 4 is 28. So m is the solution to this equation. But again, in number 9, I am looking for which equation does m equal 19 in. And here m equals 4. So C is not going to be the correct answer. The last one I need to check is D. D I have 18, and there I have, you see that diagonal, that means divided by, which again I can write as a horizontal fraction bar. 18 divided by m equals 2. Okay, so here what I'm looking for is 18 divided by what is 2? 18 divided by what is 2? Well, here m would be 9. Right? 18 divided by 9 is 2. Okay, so again, this is not the solution for m that I'm looking for, so D would not be correct either because I am looking for the equation where m is 19, and that is letter B. Okay, so I would choose letter B in the form. You'll show the same work for number 10. Number 10, you're looking for what equation does A equal 16 in. Okay, the last one that I'll do with you on this video is number 11. So go ahead and look at number 11. It's a word problem. It says 72 people signed up for the soccer league. After the players were evenly divided into teams, there were 6 teams in the league and X people on each team. Okay, so you need to choose the equation to represent this situation. Okay, so there's 6 teams. This is number 11. There's 6 teams, and those 6 teams have X number of people. So that's an unknown number of people. So you take your 6 teams, and we're going to multiply that by the number of people, which is unknown. That's why I'm using X. So 6 times some number, is equal to a total of how many people in the soccer league? What does it say in the first sentence? How many people signed up for the soccer league? 72. Okay, so you take your number of teams, multiply that by the number of people on each team, and that will give you the total number of people in the league. Okay, so you have 6x equals 72. So you could solve this to figure out what x is, to figure out how many people are on each team, and we would divide both sides by 6, and we would get x equals 72 divided by 6, which is 12. So basically on those 6 teams there are 12 people, and if there are 6 teams of 12, there are 72 total people. But for number 11, all it asks you for is the equation, which would look like this. Okay, you tried number 12 on your own, and numbers 13 through 20, they just ask you for the inverse operation, and so there is no work needed for 13 through 20. You just need to tell me what is the inverse operation needed to solve for the variable. Okay, so remember to show all your work on lined paper like I showed you for numbers 1, 2, and 3, obviously except numbers 13 through 20, which I just told you don't need work. If you finish this before class is over, submit the form and keep your work on lined paper. Keep your work on lined paper. You will turn that in tomorrow. Then you will need to do MobiMax for the remaining period. And so if you get done with the form, you've shown all your work, however much time is left, do MobiMax. And of course, if you need to work out problems in MobiMax, use your math notebook for that. Don't use the form work page to show work for MobiMax. Use a separate sheet for MobiMax. Okay? Your homework is going to be 11.1D form. That is not posted yet. I will post that to Google Classroom once class is over, and you will need to show work for 11.1D form like you did for AB form during class. Okay, and then tomorrow you will turn in work for both of these assignments, for the AB form, which you're doing in class, and for the D form, which you're doing for homework.